I used to work as a night security supervisor in a textile factory on the outskirts of town. It was quiet most nights, just the hum of machines that were shut down after hours and the echo of my own footsteps. My main job was to monitor the live camera feeds from 12 factory floors. One night, around 2:37 a.m., I noticed something odd on camera 4. A worker was walking slowly between the fabric racks. The strange thing was, no one was supposed to be there. All staff had clocked out hours earlier. At first, I thought it might be a leftover shift worker who forgot to sign out. I radioed my partner, Smith, who was patrolling the lower floor, to check. He confirmed the section was locked and empty. I blinked and looked back at the monitor. The figure was gone. I rewound the footage. That's when the real horror started. The man didn't enter the frame. He just appeared. 1 second the aisle was empty, and the next he was standing there, motionless, his head slightly tilted toward the camera. His uniform looked outdated, like the style workers wore a decade ago before the company changed its branding. Smith arrived at the section minutes later and reported something chilling over the radio. There's a set of wet footprints leading nowhere. When you followed them, they ended abruptly in the middle of the floor. The next day, we pulled footage from the week before. The same figure had been showing up intermittently, always between 2:30 and 2:45 a.m., always staring directly at the camera. I later found out that years ago, a worker had died in that section after getting trapped in a malfunctioning machine during the night shift. Since then, several guards had quit after reporting glitches and shadows that weren't supposed to be there. I left the job 2 weeks later, but every now and then when I see security cameras in other buildings, I can't help but glance at the feed, half expecting to see that figure again, silently watching. I've driven trucks across the country for more than 15 years. You see strange things at night, shadows that look human, lights that shouldn't be there, but what happened on Route 87 still makes my hands shake when I think about it. It was just after midnight when my dash cam caught something I can't explain. The road stretched out empty for miles, the kind of highway that makes you feel like you're driving through a dream. My CB radio was dead silent. I'd been recording every trip for insurance purposes, so the footage was already rolling. About 40 minutes into the drive, my headlights picked up movement, a pale figure on the shoulder. It looked like a man, barefoot, wearing nothing but a hospital gown. I slowed down instinctively. When I passed him, he turned his head, and his face, it wasn't right. His eyes were black, sunken deep. But what froze me wasn't his face. It was that my dash cam didn't record him at all. The footage shows the empty road. No man, no shadow. Just my truck slowing down and my voice saying, "Hey buddy, you okay?" I replayed the clip a dozen times at the next rest stop. My voice was there, my headlights dimmed like I'd passed something, but the road was completely empty. The next day, I stopped at a diner off the same route. The waitress overheard me describing what I saw. She looked pale and said, "You passed mile marker 61, didn't you? A patient escaped from St. Mary's Hospital nearby 3 years ago, got hit right there. They never found all of him." I laughed it off at the time, but when I checked my GPS history, the location matched exactly, mile marker 61. A week later, the file corrupted itself. The file name changed itself to "Watching You." I've deleted it from every drive I own, but every few nights, my dash cam turns on by itself and starts recording. I've worked hospital security long enough to know when something is wrong, but nothing rattled me like the night a dead man walked out of his room on camera. The patient had been pronounced dead for almost an hour, yet the hallway camera caught him stepping out of his room. It happened during a quiet night shift in 2016. A 74-year-old man named Harold Willis passed away just before midnight. The nurses logged it, covered the body, and left the room. Nothing unusual. Around 12:15 a.m., I noticed the motion detector outside his room blinking. I rewound the footage to double-check, expecting to see a nurse. Instead, I saw Harold's door open by itself. At first, I thought the camera was glitching, but then a figure stepped into the hallway. Thin, unsteady, wearing a hospital gown. He wasn't walking normally. He leaned forward like his body was moving without him. When he passed under the light, the camera caught his face, eyes half open, skin gray, completely lifeless, but moving. I felt my chest tighten as I grabbed the radio. "Alvarez, check room 424. 30 seconds later, her voice cracked over the radio. "He's not here. The body, it's gone." I looked back at the monitor. Harold was drifting slowly down the hallway, stopping at each door like he was searching for someone. When he reached the elevator, he paused. Then he turned and stared straight into the camera, as if he knew I was watching. The elevator dinged. The doors opened. Harold stepped inside. I switched to the elevator feed. The car was empty. Completely empty. Yet it traveled down 2 floors. On the second floor, the doors opened again. No one stepped out, no alarms triggered, no sensors detected movement. But something had ridden that elevator, and I had no explanation for where it went afterward. An hour later, after a frantic search, we found Harold's body again, back in room 424. On the bed, covered neatly, exactly how he'd been left. But the soles of his feet were dirty, like he'd walked on bare concrete. When the morticians arrived, one noticed a faint smudge on the inside of the elevator door, a handprint at the exact height Harold had stood on camera. The hospital deleted the footage, calling it corrupted, but I kept my own copy. Sometimes I replay it, trying to convince myself I imagined it. But dead men don't walk. Not according to anyone except the camera.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more creepy stories like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.